For refusing to give my brother my kidney and for being rude about it? Obviously, I don't have to give my kidney to anyone, but I'd like to know if I'm morally in the wrong for this or if it's an unreasonable request. I'm 23 male and have two brothers, James, 29 male, and Damien, 37 male. Our parents were horrible to me. Can't get into much detail for reasons, but it started when my dad cheated, back when I was 11, and they both hated each other but refused to divorce. So they took it out on me because James was almost an adult and rarely ever home, while Damien had already moved out years before. The key here is that James did it too. He would blame things he did on me, or make something up to get me in trouble when he knew how badly our parents would punish me. Generally, he was horrible to me, and I don't really consider him to be my brother after everything. Anyway, I moved in with my friend M, 24, when I was 17 and never looked back. I'm still living with them and their girlfriend, if it matters. I didn't have much contact with either of my brothers until a year ago when I started talking to Damien again. He apologized for not being there or helping me when I was a teenager and wanted to try having a relationship, and I agreed. He's been really nice, all my friends like him, and I truly feel I can call him my brother again. Recently, James got my number. Damien gave it to him. He called me and asked to talk. He basically said that he wanted to make amends and invited me for dinner with his family so they could meet me. He never apologized or anything. I told him that his family is welcome to come meet me at any time, but I didn't care to meet him. He got pissed and eventually spat out that he needed my kidney. He didn't give very many details, but the gist is that he needs a new kidney as one of his failed, and Damien, who talks to James on the regular, can't give his for some reason. I don't know if he'll die without one. To be honest, I have no idea how stuff like that works, and like I said, I didn't get much info from him. I don't want to give him mine though. After everything, I don't think he deserves my kidney. But I tend to be emotional about this stuff. So, honest opinions? Am I the a-hole? Edit. I think I might be the a-hole because if my brother would die, / be horribly sick from this, again I don't know much about it so I don't know, he does have a wife and a young daughter. Also, if I'm an a-hole for not really caring about him after everything. I asked Damien why he gave James my number, and he claimed to not know how bad things were and thought I'd be okay with it. I told him he should have asked me first, and he agreed and apologized, and told me that he didn't know James would ask me that. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He still doesn't care about you. He just has a use for you. He can go on the donor registry like everyone else. Kidney doctor here. To emphasize, you don't die just because your kidneys fail at all. You have options. You can choose between hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis and then you wait for a transplant, deceased donor. Nowadays, people can live many years while on dialysis. I've seen some live around 40 years, while having a normal life, working, having children, and much more. Yes, your quality of life decreases, and yes, of course, a transplant is the best option, but not being able to have one right away is not the end of the world. Just wanted OP to know that. That being said, holy crap, big not a-hole, regardless of the info that I just provided. Your brother is an entitled a-hole. Hahaha, not an a-hole. Dude couldn't even not be an a-hole long enough to ask for you a body part. He clearly doesn't need it that badly. So basically, James was awful to you over and over and randomly contacts you, doesn't apologize, and shouted about needing your kidney. How I interpret that is that he only wanted something to do with you after it could be of use to him. He doesn't see you as a brother, just a resource to make use of. Not an a-hole. Plus, can't he live with just one kidney? Oh, he already lost one of them before this. Sorry I worded it weirdly, lol. But yeah, what you said makes sense. Thanks. You might not even be eligible. You'd still have to be tested. You have every right to just say no. But if it's easier, go get tested and tell the doctor you're unwilling. Then they'll say that you're not an eligible donor, and that will be the end of it. Not the a-hole. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my cheating dad's hospital bills? My dad cheated on my mom with another woman and had a kid together. Dad left us for said woman and is now living with her. He recently had a heart attack, and hospital bills are piling up, already exceeding his insurance limit. Now his siblings, who have tolerated his behavior, and even let the woman and the kid live with them temporarily without our knowledge while dad is in the process of moving out of our home, or forcing and guilting me and my siblings to shoulder his hospital bills because he's still our father after all. Am I the a-hole for refusing to shell out for his hospital bills? Would I be the a-hole if I block off any form of communication with my dad's side of the family? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. His finances are not your responsibility. If his side of the family are harassing you, block them all and enjoy the peace and quiet. This, OP is definitely not the a-hole. OP isn't a slave. OP can do whatever they want with their money. OP has no obligation to spend a bunch of money on a cheating a-hole. If they want to help dad, then they can if they wish to. OP doesn't have to. You know what is coming. If his siblings think that he is so great and so worthy of help, then they are free to help him as much as they wish. He left your mother some time ago if he has a child with a new woman. That means that he voluntarily left the financial protections of that marriage. Let the new woman's family help. He made his choices. Now he has to live with the consequences. He still your father is an empty refrain from people who cared not a whit about what being a father meant when you and your siblings were hurting. Not the a-hole. Just like he's still their brother, so they can pay. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. He chose his life with his new family. Let him sit with that decision. Your dad broke your family unit. Your dad's siblings are allowing your dad's behavior to be acceptable. Let them know that your dad has an entire family on his new girl's side to ask for money. Your dad's siblings do not sound like the type of people I would want in my life. Then, if you're like me, let them know if universal healthcare was a thing, then your dad wouldn't be in this situation. Give them the contact information to their state's political representation and encourage them to make changes to the healthcare system. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not saving my kidney for my brother? My brother needs a kidney. We've spoken about it before and he doesn't want to take mine at all. For me, it would be the last possible option. I have young children, and it would be months before I'm back on my feet. I have a few physical issues that cause pain, and one of the painkillers I use apparently isn't great on kidneys. I am not perfectly fit and healthy, but I'm more focused on our kids at the moment than spending time at the gym/playing sports. This has become a problem for my mother because she thinks I should be looking after my kidneys better in case my brother needs one of mine. She wants me to stop taking half my painkillers when I struggle to walk and instead call her to look after my kids. I'm torn here because I love my brother and I want to help him, but I also don't think my mother is right here. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You aren't an organ cooler for your brother. Not the a-hole. Also, OP is expected to be in so much pain that she can't look after her kids for an undefined amount of time. OP, your mom is making a ridiculous request. Info, have you actually done the test to see if you're compatible? Because it could be a complete non-argument. She will prioritize her kids. You will prioritize yours. Every day spent with your children is precious, and they need a mother, not a grandma. Not the a-hole. She prioritized one of her kids, not both of them. Not the a-hole. Your mother is prioritizing your brother's health above yours, and that's definitely not right. It reminds me of stories when a child is born sick and a second child is conceived to basically harvest their organs for the older child. I don't necessarily think that's what's going on here, but your mom needs to back right off and realize that you're trying to stay as pain-free as you can. Edit. Plus, your brother said he doesn't want you to give up a kidney for him anyway. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I can't forgive my siblings for them? I am my parents' only child. When I, 21 female, was a kid, my half-siblings from my mom's first marriage did not take my arrival well. In part because their dad was an ass who didn't want my mom to remarry and poison them against me. In part because they thought it was gross that I wasn't their dad's kid as well. My mom actually let them go live with their dad after years of them acting out against me and my dad. They called us names, bullied me relentlessly, and no amount of therapy and discipline helped. One time, I was coloring a picture of my family and the oldest, who was 13 at the time, got into my face and told me to stop drawing us all because they hated me and didn't want someone gross like me being their family. My mom told him to apologize. He told her to get freaking rid of me. She took away all his stuff and sent him to his room. He blamed me. He told me if I had never been born, his and my sister's life would have been better, and that they and their dad used to pray together that I wouldn't be born. I was maybe like 5 at this point. Another time, my mom was trying to help the bond by taking one of them out with me at a time. And it was my mom, my sister, and me at this particular time. She wandered off repeatedly and said she didn't want to hang out with me. My mom tried really hard to get her to engage, and we left when my sister found one of her friends there and told her I was still wetting the bed at 6, and wasn't I so gross. My mom punished her for that too. Again, it was seen as all my fault. I think it might have been some after that when my mom agreed to let them stay with her dad. They still continued talking crap about me to their friends. They invited mom to their birthdays and high school graduations, but not me or my dad. I actually ended up with a lot of issues because of them. Low self-esteem followed, and I was bullied repeatedly in school. At first, because of the esteem issues, and then some kids knew my siblings didn't want me and used that to hurt me. At 16, I was diagnosed with depression and was in a really bad place. I'm in a better place now, and my siblings have apologized to my parents for how they acted. My parents want me to give them a chance to apologize to me and to be in my life, but I don't think I'll ever be able to. A lot of stuff they said to me stuck in my head, even more than a decade later. I do believe they might have grown and realized their dad was wrong to say and do what he did. My parents think I'm being unfair and have asked me to do it for them even if I don't want to do it for me or my siblings. I told them I can't. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. My parents think I'm being unfair and have asked me to do it for them even if I don't want to do it. I think your parents are being unfair expecting you to make them feel better. Told me if I had never been born, his and my sister's life would have been better, and that they and their dad used to pray together that I wouldn't be born. Geez, that kid has issues. Not the a-hole OP. I wouldn't want anything to do with them. Your parents need to get a grip. Both of them said things like that to me a lot. Some of it really dark and not what you would expect to hear from kids their age. I also know some stuff from grandparents about when I was born and the first 2 or 3 years of my life that my parents would not like me knowing. I'm really sorry. That sounds super rough. I hope you can stay in that better place. Don't let them pull you back into that mess. There's a lot of stuff that went on in the first few years of my life, and I honestly don't think I am still fully better after it. I'm just in a much better place than I was before. No a-holes here. Leaning towards not the a-hole. Forgiveness is between you and the person who wronged you. Third parties might hope it happens, but it's not their issue. What they did to you has lasting effects. They were kids too. Kids who are dealing with a crappy situation too, with insecurities over parents splitting, scared of a new baby taking their mother away and their total a-hole father making it all so much worse, and, reading between the lines, probably encouraging the resentment of you to gain advantages. Which worked when he got the kids. That they and their dad used to pray together that I wouldn't be born. Holy sh*. They were being emotionally abused by their dad. None of which means you owe them anything. It might mean at some point in future you might want to hear them out, but you have no obligation to do so. Not the a-hole. An apology now does not undo a lifetime of hurt and mistreatment. You can choose to have nothing to do with them in the same way they chose it all those years ago. You do you. Exactly. And the way OP's parents have linked apologizing and being in OP's life is terrible. Asking OP to consider listening to an apology is one thing. Expecting that she would then spend time with and build a relationship with them is another thing completely. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.